Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Tonya McDonald did not invite family to wedding with beach stout. The mother of Tonya Hamilton McDonald on Wednesday afternoon revealed that her family was never invited to her daughter's wedding to Portland businessman Everton McDonald. Mr. McDonald is on trial for Tonya's murder. The mother told the court that it was one of her friends who informed her of her daughter's death. She testified that she had seen Mr. McDonald since the murder until today. A question by the prosecution about how many daughters she had said tears from Tonya's mother, who said she learned of her daughter's union after she came home with a ring and said she was married. The mother, who was unable to say when the couple's relationship began, told the court that they kept it a secret prior to the wedding. Soon after she learned of the union, she said she welcomed her son-in-law into their nuclear family. Detailing her relationship with Mr. McDonald, she explained that the couple would visit her home in Dover's district St. Mary while returning from Kingston, where they purchased goods for their supermarket. She told the court that occasionally, she, along with Tonya's three sisters and her husband, who was killed in 2018, would visit the couple's home for dinner. Recalling numerous conversations between her and Mr. McDonald during the examination in chief marshal by the prosecution, the mother said Mr. McDonald was always complaining about Tonya cheating on him. She also testified that her daughter would oftentimes run away from Mr. McDonald, turning up at the family home in St. Mary with her suitcase packed with clothing. But the mother said before the day would end, Mr. McDonald would arrive at her house pleading with Tonya to return home. She said when things were good between the couple, she didn't hear from Mr. McDonald. 3 roadways in St. Andrew and St. Thomas still impassable. The National Works Agency NWA is advising that 3 corridors in St. Andrew and St. Thomas remain impassable even as it continues cleaning and clearing activities following Monday's earthquake and the subsequent rainfall. Manager Communication and Customer Services at the NWA, Stephen Shaw, says in St. Andrew, the road from Papine to Bull Bay is being impacted by large boulders, while the stretch from Papine to Hardware Gap is blocked by a massive landslide. Meanwhile, Hardle Crossing in St. Thomas is now flooded. Shaw says the NWA is now seeking to get specific equipment to both block sections of the road in St. Andrew and advised that reopening of these corridors will take some time. He says the NWA is also continuing its efforts along the Mahogany Vale to Hardy Gap corridor as well as the road from Better to Richmond Gap in St. Thomas. These corridors have since the start of the week been impacted by falling rocks and landslides. The roads have been blocked and cleared on multiple occasions. Shaw is advising motorists using the road in eastern Jamaica to exercise extreme caution, especially along those roads that are susceptible to flooding, landslide, and rock falls. The parishes of St. Andrew, St. Thomas, and Portland have been experiencing increased levels of rainfall. Interministerial body established to adhere prank calls to emergency service providers. An interministerial body headed by the Minister of Science, Energy, Telecommunications, and Transport is working to put measures in place to address the issue of prank calls to emergency service providers. Minister of Local Government and Community Development Desmond McKenzie made the disclosure in the House of Representatives on Wednesday. He said the work of the interministerial body will provide some relief while legislative review is undertaken to deal specifically with prank calls. He was speaking against the background of Sting's prank calls to the Jamaica Fire Brigade in the aftermath of Monday earthquake. Minister McKenzie condemned the act, noting that the false calls could have diverted emergency services away from people in life-threatening situations. In the meantime, he informed that the JFB will be increasing disaster training drills in schools and communities. He pointed out that while inspections continue to provide a full assessment of the impact of the earthquake, Jamaica is still open for business.
This is a new law, Mr. Speaker. The brigade had to respond to at least 6 calls, and when they turn up, nothing was happening. We must condemn those actions, Mr. Speaker. Condemn it. The legislative review is on its way to deal specifically with the question of prank calls. An interministerial body headed by the Ministry of Science is well advanced in putting in place the necessary mechanisms to deal with this issue, Mr. Speaker.
Man suing Norman Manley Airport for negligence does not have to pay security deposit, court rules. The Supreme Court has ruled that a man suing the Norman Manley International Airport after he suffered injuries after a chair he was sitting on collapsed does not need to put up money to pursue his legal action. The Airports Authority of Jamaica and NMIA Limited, who are respondent in the claim, wanted United States resident Keith Nethersold to put down a security deposit as part of his lawsuit. Nethersold filed a suit in July 2013 against the entities to recover damages. He is claiming that he was severely injured when a chair he was sitting on collapsed in August 2011 when he was in the pre-boarding area of the Norman Manley Airport. The respondents filed an application in the Supreme Court in January 2021 seeking an order for security for losses in the sum of $1.7 million. They contended that Nethersold resided in Florida, which was outside the jurisdiction, and has no assets in Jamaica to satisfy the cost of the litigation in the event he was unsuccessful in his claim. Justice Pamela Mason heard the application and ruled that it was not just to order a security forecast. The judge said the circumstances and documentation did not suggest that the claim was a sham. An order for security cost, in light of Mr. Nethersold's admitted financial status, would unfairly sever his valid claim, the judge stated. The respondents filed an application for leave to appeal the judge's ruling on the basis that although Nethersold indicated that he did not have some assets and was willing to pay $400,000 as security for costs, the judge failed to make an order in any amount whatsoever. Last week, President of the Court of Appeal, Justice Patrick Brooks, Justice Almira Sinclair Hales, and Justice Georgian Fraser refused the application for leave to appeal and said the appeal had no real chance of success. The court found that the judge's assessment was well-reasoned, therefore, there was no basis for disturbing it, and ordered each party to bear their own legal cost. King's Counsel Maurice Manning and attorney at law Shevlin Hamilton, instructed by Samoda and Jones, represented the applicants. Attorney at law Felicia Dyer represented Nethersold and argued that her client had a valid claim and there was no basis for disturbing the judge's order. Attempts at mediation failed, and the suit is set for the trial for June 3rd to 6th next year in the Supreme Court. The respondents have filed a defense acknowledging that Nethersold was injured and initially treated by their nurse at the airport. They have denied liability and have asserted that they were not negligent as they had procured the chair from an reputable supplier. Firefighters responded to 9,973 genuine calls up to September, says JFB. The Jamaica Fire Brigade JFB responded to 9,973 genuine calls over the period January to September this year, says Deputy Commissioner of Fire and Rescue Operation Kevin Horton. Speaking to the media following the staging of an open day at the Montego Bay Fire Station in St. James recently, Horton said this represented a 59% increase compared to 2022 when they responded to 6,277 calls. In terms of structural fires, we have responded to a total of 905 compared to last year when we responded to 831, he stated. Horton added that in terms of malicious calls during the same period, there were a 17.2% increase over the 937 calls during the similar period last year. The Deputy Commissioner said there has been a decrease in the number of JFB ambulance runs. We made a total of 1,572 ambulance runs, which was a decrease in comparison to the previous year when we did 3,247, Horton noted. He said that there was a 1.3% decrease in the number of motor vehicle accidents that the brigade responded to this year in comparison to last year. Horton pointed out that the JFB also responded to several bushfires this year, most of which took place in St. Catherine. We had a total of 1,185 in St. Catherine, followed by Kingston and St. Andrew, where we got a total of 704, then St. Anne, which saw 631 bushfires, Horton informed. In terms of building inspections, he noted that for the period, some 7,099 were carried out. Horton said there was a 63% increase in the number of lectures done by the JFB, and some 1,053 fire drills were led by the brigade. Some 335 fire hydrants were repaired during the period, and 1,177 fire hydrants were maintained. In attendance at the open day were Custos of St. James Bishop Conrad Pitkin and Deputy Mayor of Montego Bay Council Richard Vernon. The open day formed part of the Fire and Life Safety Awareness Week, which was observed from October 22 to 28 under the theme for your safety in a digital society. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click